What is procrastination? The textbook term refers to it as the action of delaying or postponing something. In other words, putting off until tomorrow that which could be done today. And as they say, tomorrow never comes. It can't, because by the time we get to tomorrow, it's already turned into today. Remember little orphan Annie? Tomorrow is always a day away, and we'll never catch up to it. Procrastination could be very well attributed to the death of many new writing careers, killing the dream before it has a chance to blossom into anything substantial. We all do it at some point in our lives, some more than others. Remember when you were asked to put out the garbage and you waited so long you ended up carrying a dripping bag down the street while you ran after the garbage truck? That was procrastination because you didn't like the task. Remember that time you were asked to bake something for your daughter's school bake sale, but you waited until the night before to start baking, but couldn't because you hadn't enough ingredients and the stores were already closed, so she was the only child to show up empty-handed. That was procrastination because you didn't properly prepare. And remember that time you bought yourself a year's prescription to a gym to get in shape for your upcoming tropical vacation, but you never found the time to go more than once and so ended up on the beach more out of shape than before you signed up. That was procrastination because you were simply unmotivated. Procrastination is the driving force in children confronted with a task they don't enjoy doing. Ironic as that sounds, it's the one thing children do best. Delaying the chore of eating their vegetables, washing the dishes, taking out the garbage, cleaning their room, getting up for school, doing their homework. The list goes on. Through constant encouragement from their parents, this characteristic all but disappears with positive reinforcement. However, even as adults, we still tend to procrastinate. It's human nature, and there are even some of us who tend to hold on to more of this trait than others and live a life of uncompleted tasks. Time for another of my little tales. A king who ruled over a great kingdom had a young daughter. She was his only child and he wanted to do whatever was necessary to keep her happy. One day he called for the royal writer. The princess had been saddened recently and the king wanted a story written that he could read to her so she might cheer up. The royal writer, who was known for his ability to write a good tale, was also known for his lack of enthusiasm in anything he tried to accomplish. The king explained that the story must be such that after he had read it to the princess, her sadness would be lifted and she would once again be able to smile. The royal writer got to work on a happy tale that very day, knowing of its importance to the royal family. But as with every other task set before him, he soon found himself without sufficient enthusiasm to continue without halting his efforts each time anything, even the most trivial of matters, arose. Several days passed before the royal writer appeared at the castle gates with the completed tale in hand. After he was escorted to the king, standing there, he apologized for his tardiness. "Take it away," commanded the king. "You are too late. The princess has already found her happiness and is at this very moment smiling with her mother, the queen." A few years had passed when the writer was once again summoned by the king. "The princess has had ideas of travel of late," said the king. "Due to the constant upheaval beyond the castle walls, it is unsafe for her to travel at this time. Therefore, you are to write a tale of adventure filled with elaborate descriptions of what lies beyond the castle walls for me to convey to her." The writer promised to deliver such a riveting tale about places he had traveled to that the princess would believe that she had visited them personally. Like before, the royal writer got straight to work, writing what he knew would be a great tale of adventure for the king to impart to the princess. But it wasn't far into his tale before he again found himself without sufficient enthusiasm to continue without halting his efforts each time anything, even the most trivial of matters, arose. Several weeks passed before the writer once again appeared at the castle gates with the completed tale in hand. After he was escorted to the king, standing there, he apologized profusely for the inexcusable delay, but promised it was well worth the wait. "Take it away," commanded the king. "You are once again too late. The princess has already found her adventure and is at this very moment discussing lands far and wide with her mother, the queen. This is the second time you have failed me. Fail me again, and my response will be the removal of your head." Years passed, and the princess had grown into a beautiful young woman. Once again the royal rider was summoned to the king. "The princess has reached the age of marriage, but lacks the understanding of what a good man can represent for her. You are to write a tale of love and romance for me to teach the princess with, to help her better understand." With promises of not letting the king down, the royal rider raced home to begin creating a tale of love and romance that would aid him in preparing the princess for marriage. Exactly like the previous times, it wasn't far into his tale before he again found himself without sufficient enthusiasm to continue without halting his efforts each time anything, even the most trivial of matters, arose. Over 2 months passed before the royal rider once again appeared at the castle gates with the completed tale in hand. After he was escorted to the king, standing there, he dropped to his knees and, while holding the finished tale out in front, expressed his sincere regret for being unable to deliver his tale sooner. He added that once the king reads it to the princess, he will understand the delay. "Take it away," commanded the king. "You are once again too late. The princess has already found her true love and is at this very moment discussing wedding plans with her mother, the queen. This is the third and final time you have failed me. As promised, I will give the order for the removal of your head." It was at that moment that the queen and the princess entered into the room. "Release the royal rider and allow him to go to his home," ordered the queen. "I have promised to take his head," said the king. "And what of your promise to me?" asked the queen. "Years ago, while our daughter was but a small child in despair over the loss of her pet, I asked you to tell her a tale that might lift her spirits, but due to your procrastination, you could not, and instead employed the royal writer to write the tale you should have already held in your mind. Years later, when she came to you to describe what life is like beyond the castle walls, I asked you to describe to her the many lands you have traveled so that it may quell her curiosity for a time. But due to your procrastination, you once again employed the royal writer to write the tale you should have already held in your memories. And years following that, our daughter became of age, and her desire to know and understand love became apparent. I asked you to teach her the ways so that she might know what to expect from the man she will someday wed. But again, due to your procrastination, you employed the royal writer to write a tale of love and romance that you should have already held in your heart." "But my queen," began the king, "although late, the royal writer completed his happy tale, but you told me it was not needed. Then when he completed his tale of adventure, you told me it was not needed, and only days ago you told me that his tale of love and romance was no longer needed." "The reason is simple," began the queen. "When you failed to comfort our daughter during her time of need, I helped her through her distress by explaining how I found comfort after losing my own pet. When you failed to impart your experiences of adventure to our daughter when she became curious, I quelled her curiosity by imparting my own adventures beyond the castle walls. And when our daughter needed the understanding of the meaning of true love, and you again failed to fulfill her needs, I shared with her what my mother shared with me when I was her age so she could be prepared for the day she met true love. So, if you want to punish the royal rider for his procrastinating ways, what then should the punishment be for yours? Like I said earlier, everyone procrastinates. It's human nature. It's how you deal with that procrastination that will have you either sitting at your desk in front of your computer, surfing the net or making paper airplanes, or shaking it off, putting the task at hand first and getting back to the creation of your novel. We will never be able to eradicate the desire to procrastinate completely. It will always be there in the background, just waiting for the opportunity to step forward and take over. But accepting this, you need only to remain mindful and stay one step ahead. If the trash bins need to be put out by morning so you don't miss the bin collector, put them out the night before. If you have a project due at the end of the week, don't put it off until the end of the week. Get it started on the day it's assigned. And if you have been talking about writing that great novel, stop talking and start writing. And as long as you don't allow your procrastination to get a foothold on your writing, you will be free to write as much as you like. Thanks for watching, and if you found anything that I said beneficial to you in any way, hit that subscribe button because you never know. My next video might just be helpful too.